Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pash On podcast. Let's get started with your host, Brian Pash.
Hi, this is Brian Pash, and welcome to another podcast. On today's show, we have Mike Martinez. He's the Chief Revenue Officer for DealerOn, and we're going to be talking about their entrance into the new GM website program. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you for having me, and excited to have the opportunity to talk to your audience.
Great. So this is one of a four-part series. We are interviewing each of the four companies in the GM program. It's great to have Mike on today's show because, Mike, you've been in the industry a long time. You've worked at a number of innovative companies, so your insights will really be appreciated. Let's dive into the questions, and these questions are pretty much the same for all of the providers to provide some structure for our listeners. So you are in the most OEM programs, at least from my research, of any website provider, so you are used to the demands of each OEM. Tell us, did you have to do anything special to handle the requirements for this GM program as you look at your website platform and its capabilities?
Thank you for that shout out. Yeah, we are proud that we are, we're over 26 manufacturer programs and growing. So this has given us a great base to experience, to be able to work directly with General Motors and collaborate with them as we began the process of preparing for this launch. And I think it's important the audience knows that this thing goes back over 18 months. So we've been working collaboratively with GM, at a technical level for a long time. And I have to give GM credit. They've done particularly for as large and complex, and I think you said this, this certainly takes some chops, a program as they're moving. They've done a great job in investing and developing services that I won't say make it easy, but certainly make it less a complex effort than it otherwise might have been for what we're doing with General Motors. So the teams are working with GM now for almost a year. We have, I think the thing the audience needs to understand is that in this new program, GM has developed an entirely new dealer tool and interface infrastructure to support all four vendors. So this is a case of really that which today is ending, and all four of us are moving to a brand new infrastructure, starting with sites rolling out in January of next year. So we're all in the same boat, and we've all been working along the path to be prepared. And I think DealerOn, by virtue of the fact that we've done this, and we are really the only company in the four that have been in two or more large scale migrations like this, both Ford and FCA. I think we were amongst the best prepared to be able to take this challenge on successfully.
Great. I have a great friend in the industry. He's a GM dealer, and Greg sent me a detailed email. He was very concerned about whether the new providers would be able to get the vehicle math box, that pricing box, correct. Specifically, he mentioned Buick GMC have so many conditional offers that are quite complex, and CDK was the only company that was able to get it right. When he tried other website providers, no one seemed to get it right. He was worried about compliance risk. So I know there's something called D2C2. It sounds like R2D2. So can you tell the dealers who are worried that DealerOn won't be able to get the math box right, how this D2C2 platform works, because the dealers have to get certified on it if they want to go live with you. How would you describe it in as simple terms as possible, with the idea of comforting people that you're going to get the math box right?
Sure. So first of all, kudos to your dealer. That's exactly, that is a key issue to be concerned about. And the first thing to know is, kind of harkens back to what I said a minute ago, which is that everything that you've worked with, CDK or whoever else up to this point, kind of comes to an end on December 31st. So we'll toss down a glass of champagne, and then January 1st is or thereabouts as sites begin rolling out. What they're rolling out to is an entirely new infrastructure. A core piece of the infrastructure is D2C2, or Digital Dealer Command Central, which is a new tool set being provided to GM dealers by General Motors. I'm not going to get into the depths of D2C2 because it's not our product. I think it's a great topic for you to talk to the guys at GM about. But the intent, as I understand it, of D2C2 is to give the dealers all the control and capabilities that they need and are accustomed to using other tools from CDK and other third parties to be able to accurately price their vehicles and be able to accurately configure incentives and all of the complexity that your dealer is concerned about. Then that data is then sent to your vendor, hopefully DealerOn, through a brand new interface called VIVP. We have lots of acronyms here. And we integrate with VIVP, we receive the data, and then our job is to make sure that the data that is sent to us is then appropriately displayed. So GM has taken a big chunk of the heavy lifting of this off of the shoulders of all four vendors by developing the D2C2 and the VIVP products. So GM's put a lot of money into this. So first thing to know is, even though you know CDK has been your vendor, everything that CDK has done up to this point now is being redone in the new environment, same as for us and the other two vendors. So it's an even playing field.
Great.
Second
so Mike,
is to know that D2C, go ahead.
Yeah, so in regards to this, I just want to make sure dealers understand, if you pick DealerOn as your website provider, dealers have to be certified in D2C2 for the DealerOn website to go live. So it's very important that dealers understand that GM is taking this new tool very seriously, and this is not pick a website provider, fill out an onboarding form, and wait to go live. It looks like more of a partnership, Michael, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. GM is taking this very seriously. They've invested what I'm sure are, is a lot of money to develop this new technology. They've worked very closely with us, and the other vendors for the last year and a half. And it is absolutely a controlled and highly, precision rollout of this new capability, because, GM understands, the same as every dealer understands, that the dealer website is the most critical real estate a dealer has. And the last thing anyone can afford is to muck it up. That's also why all four of us are going through, in-depth piloting period for the rest of the year to make sure that when January rolls around, that we've proven that we're able to comply with all of the requirements from GM before we start bringing dealer sites live. And that's true for all four of us. So GM's done a great job of creating a controlled process with new technology that all four vendors have now had the opportunity to integrate with and support all of the requirements. And at DealerOn, I have absolute confidence that our team is ready, not only to go to pilot, but by January, we'll be ready to roll dealership websites out and support all of the many requirements, including pricing and incentives that the dealership knows they must maintain.
Mike, I've talked to dealers, and I've talked, obviously, your peers who are in this program. There are about 4,400 GM dealers that are going to be given choice. DealerOn, as you mentioned, has experience with both Chrysler and Ford, two large dealer networks, and being brought into what was an exclusive program and handling the influx. But many dealers are afraid, like there's been this perceived pent-up demand for choice in GM, and now it's here. And that's a lot of dealers to convert. What are you doing to prepare for this influx so that customer service for your existing customers doesn't falter and you can set a great first impression for the new GM dealers who select DealerOn?
Outstanding question. That's a great question that your audience should ask of all four vendors as they make their selection. So to your point, we're really the only one who has moved it from a single vendor into a choice model for the two other really large manufacturers in our space, Fiat Chrysler and Ford. And experience really counts here. Not only did we onboard during the Ford's open enrollment period last year over 800 dealers, and did that in less than 4 months, but we did so while maintaining or establishing at Ford and maintaining with our other manufacturers the highest satisfaction ratings available from any vendor in any OEM program. So, scale and scaling while we deliver satisfaction is something that we're really good at, and that we have a long demonstrated track record for dealers who select DealerOn. So at the end of the day, you choose DealerOn for 2 reasons. One, we deliver results right now. The past is the past, and the future will take care of itself. We're about helping dealers sell more cars right now through a high converting website platform. 2, we support that platform and the dealer through exceptional support that is the highest rated amongst the manufacturers and has a driving sales rating reputation of over 99%. Those are the 2 best reasons to select us.
Great. And I've asked every one of the website companies. Obviously, the incumbent doesn't have the need to answer this question, but you have to plan for onboarding. How many GM dealers do you believe you can onboard per month when the enrollment, obviously the enrollment has already started, but when we go live, what does January, February, March, what's your internal pace?
So I'm actually going to push back a little bit on you first before I give you the answer, in that you're giving a bit of a free pass to CDK, and that's really not accurate, because again, it's not like the dealers are staying on their CDK website or moving to DealerOn or somebody else. The entire serving infrastructure is being changed. So CDK has to onboard you the same way the rest of us do. So, if you hadn't asked them that question, I'd go back and ask them and say, okay, not only how many can you onboard, but CDK, you also then have to cooperate with the other 3 of us to offboard customers who choose DealerOn or somebody else, in addition to moving, onboarding dealers onto, into the new CDK website in the new program. So don't give them a pass on that one.
Yes, Michael,
but
let me respond to that. One thing I was told, and I think I understand it, if a dealer chooses to wait and see who to pick, on January 6th, whenever the magical, cutover date, they can stay on their existing website. It is compliant, meaning if for some reason they don't or delay taking their D2, C2 certification, the existing CDK website will function, price box will be correct, and they could stay with CDK for a period of time and not be out of commission. So I think there is some clarification that the existing CDK website platform on January 6th will still be compliant.
So I want to put a little finer point on it. So yes, January 2nd, your existing CDK site, regardless if you've chosen to move or not, unless you're magically available on January 1st, will still be operating until such time as your new site is up, regardless of your provider. But every GM dealer needs to know that if they do not make their selection of a provider by December 4th, they will be forced into a new CDK package that will then deploy sometime in the new year. So you may have a few months of, let's call it, safety on the site, but eventually, sometime early next year, you will be moved over. And so if you're going to be moved over, do you want to bank on the company that has not gone through any kind of large implementation in years, or do you want to bank on DealerOn, who's done this 26 times over the last couple of years and is deeply connected to supporting this new infrastructure? So
that's fair, Michael. That's fair
for a moment.
And dealers, their whole reason why we're doing the podcast is I want them to hear your passion. Obviously, you're very passionate about your success. And for good reason. You have the most experience with the most OEM programs. You've done it in scale. Let's move to the pricing. So the pricing is interesting. All four offerings have base, plus, and premier. They all have different general prices and different check boxes, which is very interesting. Dealers, when they ask for choice, I'm not sure if they realize how many choices they were going to have. So I can't imagine any dealer being, come away from, hey, I don't have enough choices. Let's talk about support first. Obviously, you know how to scale support. Whether somebody takes the base package, the plus package, or the premier package, is there any differences in the ticketing or support system? I know if somebody does Premier, they get more services, which means they may talk to other area matter experts like SEO or paid search or a merchandising specialist. But what about day-to-day support? Are dealers on Base Plus and Premier getting the same level of support or not?
Actually, Brian, I'm really proud of this and excited to talk to the audience because I think DealerOn is actually pretty unique in the packages in that one of the things that we felt was critical, and this comes from our experience in onboarding large OEM programs, is not just providing support to all three packages. Yes, we have a fabulous award-winning support department that handles all of your change requests and problems and issues and is available for you 24/7 for phone and email support. But we felt, and we've learned through our experience, that it is critical that for dealer satisfaction and effectiveness of their website dollar, to make sure that they have access to what we call a designated customer success manager. And the customer success manager is, think of them as the quarterback of your support team. They're the single point of contact. Their job is not to fix things, change things for you, though they can, but their job is to coordinate all of the resources that we make available to our dealers at DealerOn, and then work with the dealer on a month-in, month-out basis to consult, to identify opportunities for improvement, to report, and to make sure the dealer is getting the best outcome from their DealerOn investment. We take it so seriously with these folks. Not only are they, Google certified and all that, but every member of the customer success team has been through the Northwood University General Manager Certification Training and are GM certified. They are technologists who have learned how to run stores, and they are working with you every single day to get you the most out of your buck, in addition to the team of support specialists and inventory specialists and designers and engineers that we make available to them to make sure our customers get the best possible support. And that is available in all three packages.
Great. And Michael, as I look through the very detailed PDF and pricing, and listeners should know that in the articles and on the landing page with all these podcasts, I will have links to the different PDFs that have been published specifically for the GM program. Help me understand the paid search fees. One thing, it doesn't. I'm looking through the PDF and I don't see a clear. Maybe I'm missing it, but if a dealer wants to do paid search, is it one package, one price? Is it a percentage of spend? How should a dealer look at the paid search management in this program?
Sure. So, we'll step back for a second, just make sure the audience understands that the DealerOn platform is engineered for maximizing organic search traffic out of the box. That's part of the reason that we can offer and have offered for years, our pretty unique lead guarantee. So we know that we can drive more traffic through better organic search, and that we can convert more of that traffic. With regard to paid search, there's a 3-package approach that we've taken for the GM dealer. Again, we call their base, plus, and premier, and they span from I think it's $14.99 a month to $29.99 a month, depending upon the amount of features and content and work that the customer believes they need for their particular marketplace. So, in that selection, we'll work with them to understand, what kind of market they're in, how competitive that market is, do they need just a good paid search, paid SEO capability that gives them ability to drive traffic, or they're in a really hyper competitive marketplace where more reputation management and social listening is important, or they are in a market that we're ensuring link building, which is something I think we uniquely do, is critical, and then they'll select a package that fits their needs best.
Great. Michael, in reviewing the other program providers, many of them have outlined 3 different levels of SEO, as long with, like just you, 3 levels of SEM. I noticed in the pricing grid, you have something listed as SEO Accelerator Platform, which is on the Plus and Premier. Are there other opportunities or packages for SEO that are available to dealers, or is that just built in the SEO to the core platform pricing?
So the core platform pricing builds in everything we can do from a technology perspective to get great SEO. The 3 packages then for SEO pick up where the technology leaves off and gives you access to our SEO specialists and all of the work that they can do on top of what the technology can do. So that includes things like content creation, creation of multiple model research pages among custom blogging, really important local link building. So we will proactively work with the dealer's local business partners to build links between their sites and others. We'll work on citations, which is also, I think, something unique to us. And then depending upon the package, adding in things like basic review monitoring and social monitoring, though I have to say, GM has a social and reputation program that's separate from this. So if they want full social and reputation, they would look over there. Great. But so there's 3 packages that add labor and specialty above the automation that's already in the website program.
Super. And if it's possible, Michael, the PDF that I have doesn't break out those 3 SEM programs or SEO programs. So if there's a version that could have that, it would be great for our listeners, because I have that detail on the other PDFs, and that would be surely helpful so dealers can pick the complete support package from DealerOn that they would like. Let's move on to some technical stuff. With all installations of DealerOn, whether someone goes for the base package or upgrades, will you be installing and supporting Google Analytics regardless of if the dealer asks for it?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll not only install Google Analytics, our perspective is full transparency. So the dealer will have complete unfettered access to their Google Analytics account. So they have, ability to see everything that's happening without any kind of filter from us. And then, of course, we'll also support GM's Adobe Cloud Analytics integration as well.
Great. And will that include connecting the Google Ads account that the dealer is, using, run by your organization, so we can see the Google Ads spend and traffic by campaign in analytics?
Yeah, if we're the dealer's chosen digital advertising provider under the GM DAS program, absolutely. If we're not, then we've already integrated in. We won't do the GA piece. That'll be whoever's managing advertising for them. But we've already integrated all the approved DAS tags into our site for all the vendors.
Great. One common question that existing CDK customers have is this: hey, I built up a lot of content. I think my SEO is pretty good. I'm afraid about my organic traffic drop. So if I went from CDK to DealerOn, what are you telling those CDK customers on what they can expect as a reasonable or no drop of SEO?
Great question. This is something we'll really practice at because of all the migrations we've done over the last couple of years. First up, this is why we offer and have offered for years now our lead guarantee. So within 90 days, if you don't see at least a 50% increase in lead traffic, clearly the OEM program you can leave, but if it's not at least 25%, we'll refund your money. So we put our money where our mouth is. Second is the platform has been engineered to make not only to automate SEO, but to make migration of SEO a straightforward exercise that will result in none to minimal SEO loss in the first 30 days, and then SEO growth thereafter. So, for example, we can stand up a website through the automation investment we've made over the last couple of years. As fast as my team sells them, our implementation team can have the sites live. The tricky part, or the part that we've invested past that, is then migrating all of the dealers' content from their existing site over to their new site, and implementing 301 redirects for every single page where content's migrated. And that way we ensure that the traffic drop is negligible to zero. Great. And then, of course, once the site's live, traffic then begins to build based upon the superior SEO platform that we deliver.
Great. A lot of dealers are in pilots with OEMs, or they're part of a dealer group. Obviously, one of the nice advantages of DealerOn is you're in so many OEM programs, a dealer group could standardize on your platform. When it comes to digital retailing, are there any limitations that dealers need to know? Are you able to accommodate any of the popular DR platforms? So in a sense that you're agnostic on what DR tool a dealer might use?
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that makes DealerOn really unique is, and you may have said this in one of your blogs not too long ago, is you're not sure if we were crazy or brilliant to stay in our swim lane. We choose to believe that we're brilliant, and that our R&D investments can be focused around helping the dealer get the most out of their web investment. To that end, we then have integrated with pretty much every DR provider out there and have done so successfully. So as you say, we're agnostic on the DR vendor that you use. So if you're using one of our website competitors' DR, you can implement it onto one of our sites. And if you don't have a DR investment already and you're interested in who's to use, we're happy to give you our advice.
Wonderful, Michael. Let's talk about some unique integrations that may entice a dealer to consider your platform. When it comes to integration with CRMs, it seems that dealers are still struggling with duplicate leads or updates to leads or information not being passed to the CRM. For example, you're doing advertising and a person comes to the website from a Facebook campaign that you're managing, and that information doesn't get passed into the dealer CRM because maybe the ADF XML format doesn't support it. And obviously with digital retailing, the data records are so much richer in what the typical ADF format supports. So things are being shoved in the comments. Can you speak to any integrations that you have that is using an API to send information from your website to the CRM in lieu of if the dealer wanted the typical ADF XML file?
Yeah, and so with regard to General Motors, this is sort of kind of off the table since GM requires all 4 website providers to integrate directly with their leads API and transmit the lead information to GM through their clearinghouse, which will then feed it into the dealer's CRM. So in this case, we're not doing a direct API into the dealer's CRM. We're sending the data back to GM, who then does the integration themselves.
Great. So all 4 website providers send all leads to one place. GM can sanitize them or standardize them or clean them up or do nothing, whatever they choose, and then send them to the dealers in real time.
That's correct. Yep. Yep. So here, really no advantage to any one of the 4 providers. as far as lead and CRM integration goes, because we all have to send it up to the data warehouse in the sky that is GM.
Great. Now, companies like CDK and Cox are very large enterprise companies. They have a field force that calls on dealers talking about things like Auto Trader or VIN Solutions or their DMS. So there's local field support for some of the largest companies in our industry. If a dealer wanted quarterly site visits, is there a listed package? Is that a la carte? What do you say to a dealer who says, hey, I need some field support, some ground support on a regular basis?
So that's not something that we a la carte. Depending upon the dealer's degree of commitment to us and the size of their organization, we do quarterly business reviews with our with our larger or more committed customers, and we do that at no charge to that customer. Otherwise, we think that we believe that with our investment in our customer support team and the customer success manager team, physical presence isn't that important. What's more important is our ability to ensure their success and rapidly respond to their requests.
Great. And that's a good lead into the next question. If a dealer's on any one of your three website packages and they have a problem, what are they supposed to do? Are they filling out a ticket first? Can they call a tech support number and talk to a live person? Explain how that would work for a dealer.
Sure. So the dealer always has the option, if they choose, to call tech support or to submit a ticket through email to our support organization. But as I was saying earlier, it was really, really important to us, and we thought to our dealer customers, that we go the one step further and offer the customer success manager in all three packages, particularly for the base package at a price that was lower than what they were paying today for the CDK program and their Pro Care Advisor. So they would have a high availability individual to be able to contact to help them with their problems. So really, at the end of the day, the best thing to do is to pick your phone up and call the cell phone of your customer success manager, and then they will make sure that all of your problems are resolved, and the support team will get back to you and solve the problems, and the customer success manager will make sure that all the resources are coordinated. So you have that designated contact who cares specifically about your business, knows you really well, and has access to all the resources inside DealerOn to make sure that you have the best possible experience and the highest possible return on your investment.
That's great. Now, we know that dealers who wanted choice can say they want choice, but when you pick a new provider, there's a onboarding process where they have to fill in some information. So let me be clear that I'm well aware of dealers who saying they want something right away and never fill out things. But for a dealer who does their work, they pick DealerOn, they fill out their onboarding document, they go through the certification for the new inventory and pricing management tool. How long are you telling dealers it will take for their website to go live? Do you have an estimate of what your goal is for the GM program?
So that estimate's going to stretch out as we go through time. So if you move now, you can still get your website live in January. So head up to gmdealerdigital.com and select DealerOn right now. Hang up from the podcast. Do that right now. As we go, little plug for myself there. As we go further down the road, and more dealers have piled on, that process will, that answer will stretch out. But I can't imagine at this point that anybody who makes a selection on December 4th is still going to have to wait more than till May or June for their website to go live. So we believe that unless we're blessed with half the opportunity, which frankly we'll take, but I don't count on, that we can take our fair share and make sure that our customers are up and going in their new DealerOn website before the end of spring.
Great. Now, Michael, we talked about a lot of things. I've given everyone I've interviewed the opportunity to close. Was there something that we missed, something that you really want the dealers and marketing managers listening to today's podcast to know about DealerOn and this program that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I think I'd like to revisit just some of the comments we had up front, which is that there is no safe spot here. There is no waiting until sometime next year. You're going to make your choice, or your choice will be made for you by December 4th. And then by sometime next year, you'll have a new website. So the most important thing to do is to not be forced into something, but rather make the choice that you think is best for your business. And if you're asking me why DealerOn is the best choice for a dealer's business, I would say that we're the only provider who's been through this kind of scaled program, in the last 2 years. So we have the chops to be able to handle this and handle it well. We have the best satisfaction within any manufacturer program available. And we're still the only guys who stand behind our platform and say that you, Mr. Dealer, will start doing more business right now by moving to DealerOn, and we guarantee it. Not sometime in the future, but right now.
Great. Well, Michael, I really appreciate you taking the time today and be part of the podcast and answer the questions candidly and with passion. You're the only one who pitched the close. Get off the phone and sign up. I love that. That's definitely a commendable trait. Love the close. But for the dealers who are listening to today's podcast, I recorded these because I know about half the dealers can't make the roadshow, and that's expected with schedules. So listen to all four and choose which platform you think is aligned with your culture, that has the best interests of your dealership in mind. And obviously, DealerOn has proven itself to be, successful and a high customer satisfaction solution in 26 OEM programs, which is just mind-blowing. I had the opportunity to speak at an internal DealerOn conference about 2 years ago, and I walked away with one thing, that their team is super focused on customer satisfaction, and that's a really awesome culture to have, and obviously a testament to the reason why you're in so many programs. Dealers who are listening to this podcast should know that every Monday I release a new podcast. We have dozens of great podcasts regarding different industry topics and interviews with thought leaders. You can find them on brianpash.libsyn, that's LIBSYN.com, or you could search the Apple Podcast channel for the Pash On podcast. Also, the podcasts are on Spotify, SoundCloud, and on the Google Play Store. So stay tuned each week for a new interview or conversation with automotive industry leaders. Michael, at the upcoming Automotive Analytics and Attribution Summit, it's going to be a great time for dealers who haven't made a choice to meet face-to-face with all the companies. They can meet with your team. They can meet with the other providers. I encourage them to learn more about DealerOn and the great solutions that are available to them. And Michael, if it is possible with your schedule, love to get you back after Q1 next year and hear about the success of the program and how the onboarding has going in the program. Is that a good idea to follow up in a few months, see how it's going?
Absolutely. I look forward to it, and I'll make sure my schedule has availability. I want to thank you, Brian, for this opportunity and time, and thank your audience for taking the time to listen.
Great. Well, thanks, Mike. And for all our listeners, I look forward to spending some more time with you on our future podcast. Have a great day.